how to use the new Notion calendar app. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can use the brand new Notion calendar app, which fixes the age-old problem of us having to integrate our calendar app and Notion separately. For example, use Google Calendar and Notion for your productivity, and you this is the classic example of you having Google Calendar on the left and Notion on the right, just so you can add time context to your Notion database items or your projects or tasks or meetings, etc. Okay, so the most important part here is we add a Notion account in our Notion calendar. So in addition to adding your email account, for example, here I have my Google Calendar account, we also need to add our Notion account. So to do that, go to the top left corner here and click this little downwards pointing arrow, click Notion Calendar and click Settings. And then under the integrations menu, click Notion and add a Notion workspace. Click Connect and you should be redirected to your browser, and you should choose one of the workspaces that you have and just click allow access. In this case, I already did that, so I'm just going to go back to the app directly. Okay, so now see here we have a problem. I cannot see my database in Notion calendar. Well, that's because the database that I want to be shown in this Notion calendar app does not have a calendar view. So if you take a look here in my project dashboard, which has my projects view, I do not have a calendar view for it because I put my calendar view separately as a linked view of my database in the main um, database here. So the easy fix here is to click plus on the main project database, click plus, and simply add a calendar view. Okay, so this view, we're just gonna name the calendar. We're not really using it, but currently it is necessary for us to have a calendar view in our main project or in our main database for it to appear in the Notion calendar. So if we take a look back here after we added a calendar view, this is pretty redundant in Notion, but again, it's very important for you to be able to interact with your database in Notion calendar app. Now we should have a Notion database. So we should be able to see our Notion database. All right, it does take some time in order for it to load. If it hasn't loaded already, go ahead and control and hit Control R on your Windows um, device. And once we've re-clicked this plus add Notion database under our Notion account, we should see the project, the databases that includes a calendar view. So in this case, I'm just going to choose my projects database. And now I can see my database item with a time context in it in my Notion calendar. So as you can see here, it is now shown in my calendar, but you can only see your database item if it has a date property in here. So if you have not added a date property to your database item, it will not be shown. So for example, if I add project 4 here and I do not add a date property, in this case my time frame, for the project 4, it will not show anywhere in the calendar, which is pretty self-explanatory. So if I add a date, let's just name it to let's just call it today, and let's include the time to, let's say, 5 a.m. Now only then it will be shown in my calendar view. So all right, so as you can see here, it is now shown. Okay, very important. Now the second thing I want to show you is how you can navigate your schedule here. So there are a few things to make us take a look at our schedule better. So You can minimize this first. This is the way I like it. And then I want to minimize these all day um, dates because it takes up a lot of space on the vertical axis. So to do that, just Control K, hit Control K on your keyboard, and let's find collapse. By the way, Control K is important for you to remember because if you feel lost or you feel like you want to do something to your Notion calendar app, but you don't really know the menu, there's a good shortcut for it in order for you to search for the features that you want. So it's Control K. You can search for everything that Notion calendar app has to offer here. You don't have to worry. All right. So once I've minimized my all day events here, I can I can I can show it back on top like this by just clicking it here. This is pretty nice. Next is, well, since I'm working internationally, I need to know the time zone in which that my upcoming events will be in. So, for example, it's the Czech time. So you can add a time zone like I have here. I have two timeline. I have added a label for my home timeline, which is in my home city, as my home time zone. And I've added a Czech time zone, the Prague time zone, as CET here so that I can have a good time context across different time zones. So no more manually checking Google what time is it in the said time zone that you want to take a look at. Another thing that you can do is that you can choose for this bird's eye view of the time here, of the hours here. As you can see, it is now spanning from 1 a.m. all the way to 2 p.m., which is over 12 hours. But for example, if you have a very tight time in your daily schedule, for example, on Mondays, you have to do a lot of things, you can narrow it down to maybe just 9 to 5 or just from 9 to 9, your choice. And that is done by hitting Control, Shift, and point for zooming in, and Control Shift, comma for zooming out. There you go. Again, if you're confused or you forget about the keyboard shortcuts, worry not because you really only need to remember one shortcut, which is the Control K here. If you get lost, for example, if I forgot how to zoom in my hours there, I can search for zoom in and it will remind me of the keyboard shortcut that I'm looking for, or I can just simply click it for it to do it once. Okay, so let's zoom back out here at the moment because I am really on a bird's eye view currently. I'm in a mood. Okay, so the second thing is, as if you notice, I have set my calendar to show 10 days from today to 10 days ahead. Now, if you want the standard 7 days, you can toggle this by clicking on the number of displayed days button here on the top right menu. Click it, and when you click it, you can reduce or increase the number of times that you want to display. Okay, and don't forget about the nice day, week, or month view. The day view will again allow you to look at your daily schedule. The weekly view will show you a peek of what the days after today will look like. And the month view is especially useful if you need to schedule stuff. As you can see here, it was pretty busy for me last month. This month I'm still pretty free. Okay. Next is, let's say you still can't get out from Google Calendar yet, and you want Notion Calendar just for your work purposes. No problem. You can do that by clicking on the week on the calendar day view here again, and you can go over to view settings and you can toggle for Notion calendar to show weekends or not. So if you untoggle weekends here, if you untoggle it, as you can see here, we will only see our schedule from Monday to Friday. And that is pretty neat again if you want Notion calendar only for your work. All right. So next you can also see the week numbers here. So for example, if you are working on a weekly basis of the year, you can see what week are you in of the year here. So for example, I am week 6 in 2024. So that is quite useful for you if you need it. And I think that is all for now for Notion Calendar app. It is very powerful, and I have covered the basic functionalities. So next, I think let's move on, and I'll show you how it can be integrated between your Google Calendar app and your Notion database. I've mentioned this in the previous video, I think on the Google Calendar and Notion integration, but I'll show it again here. So as you can see, we already have our projects database linked in this Notion calendar. So if I add a time context to my database items, I can see it in the Notion calendar. So as you can see, it is now shown in the Notion calendar. Let's go ahead and roll this back, and let's view the weekends again. And let's click today here to jump to the day today. And well, if I've added a project for here, for example, at February 4th, 5 a.m., I can add this. And then I can take a look at my activities in my Notion app and my Notion database, and also the activities that I've added from my Google account, which is neat. Now, this is a request for Notion Calendar. Please make an Android app because I find it still cannot replace entirely the Google Calendar because I usually see how my day will look like, my daily schedule from the Google Calendar widget on mobile. So if we can have a Notion Calendar app on mobile, that would be pretty great, and I would definitely 100% replace the Google Calendar app to Notion Calendar app in both PC and mobile. All right, so that is all from me now. I hope you can explore more on the features in Notion Calendar. I'm just showing you how I would use it in this video. It's pretty simple, but if you are interested in taking a deeper look, I highly recommend Thomas Frank's account for you to take a look at the other more advanced features of Notion Calendar. Thank you.